The kingdom where no one grew old. Once upon a time, beyond the reach of any map and farther than the last breath of the wind, there lay a kingdom so hidden and strange that even the birds forgot how to find it. It was called Eloria, and in Eloria, no one aged a day past their prime. Children remained children forever, laughing and tumbling in the golden meadows. The old grew young again and stayed that way. No wrinkle deepened, no hair turned gray, and no heart slowed with time. It was a place of endless summers and evergreen hope, but as with all things that sound too perfect, Eloria carried a secret. The kingdom's enchantment was guarded by a woman known only as Mother Marrow, a sorceress older than the first snowfall, whose eyes gleamed like candlelight behind gauze. She lived in a glass tower in the middle of Lake Sara-Loon, and once a year, the king and queen would journey across the silver water to pay her homage. King Aurelian and Queen Lyra were wise and kind, ruling with a gentle hand. Their people adored them, for under their reign, hunger had been banished, war forgotten, and sickness only a word in old songs. And yet, even they did not know the full truth of the enchantment that kept Eloria ageless. One day, in a village that brushed the edge of the forest, a girl named Mira stood beside her father's well, staring at her reflection. She was 17, forever 17. She had been that way for 7 years. Her hair still curled at her shoulders the same way it had when she was a child. Her smile still held the innocence of a girl who had not yet seen sorrow. But her eyes were beginning to know things. Mira's mother, once a baker with fire-kissed cheeks and songs in her throat, had not sung in years. Her laughter had faded. Though she looked barely 30, something behind her gaze sagged like a curtain drawn too long. "Papa," Mira asked one evening as they watched the sun paint the mountains, "why don't we age?" Her father, a man with strong arms and a soft voice, sighed. "Because we are blessed, my girl." "But do you feel blessed?" He hesitated. "Sometimes, and sometimes not." That night, Mira dreamed of an hourglass that poured upward and a girl with feathers for hair who wept golden tears. When she awoke, a decision had formed in her chest like a stone dropped into a still pond. She would go to the glass tower. Mira told no one. At dawn, she packed a satchel with bread, a knife, a ribbon, and her grandmother's old compass, the one that never pointed north but always pointed true. She followed the road until it faded into deer paths, and the deer paths until they faded into nothing at all. For 3 days, she traveled through forest and field, shadow and sun. On the 4th day, she reached the shores of Lake Sara-Loon. It was more a sea than a lake, vast and shivering under a pearl-gray sky. In its center stood the tower, spindly and clear as ice, rising like a thorn into the clouds. No boats bobbed on the water. No birds flew near. But someone was waiting. A boy stood by the lake's edge. He looked to be her age, 17, with silver blonde hair and a cloak the color of frost. In his hands was a boat carved from bone-white wood. "You seek the tower," he said, not as a question. Mira nodded. "I need to speak with Mother Marrow. She doesn't grant audience to just anyone. She will this time." He studied her. "Very well, but once we begin, you cannot turn back." "I don't intend to." The boat skimmed over the lake like a sigh. No oars, no sail, just the boy's quiet presence guiding them forward. As they neared the tower, Mira saw shapes beneath the water. Faces, hands, eyes open, unblinking. "Who are they?" she whispered. "Those who tried to steal the secret of Eloria." Mira shivered. They reached the tower. A door bloomed in the glass like frost spreading, and the boy stepped aside. "I cannot go with you," he said. "But what is your name?" He smiled sadly. "I've had many. The one I gave up was Corin." And then he was gone. Inside the tower, everything shimmered. The walls were made of memory, each pane a vision from the past. Children played in snow that never melted. Lovers kissed beneath cherry trees that bloomed forever. Mothers held newborns who never grew heavier. Mira climbed. She passed rooms filled with candles that whispered, mirrors that showed not her reflection but her regrets, birds in cages made of wind. At the top, she found a room with no doors and no windows, only a chair, a fire, and a woman. Mother Marrow. She looked both ancient and young, her hair as white as moonlight and her eyes as dark as earth. Her dress was woven from twilight, and her voice was the hush before rain. You have come far, Mira. You know my name. I know all the names of Eloria. I gave them their years. Mira stepped forward. Why does no one age in this kingdom? Mother Marrow smiled, sad and small. Because the king once made a wish. A wish? Long ago, when his wife lay dying with child, he begged me for a boon. To save her, to save the child, and to banish death from his lands. I told him the cost. He said he would pay it. What was the cost? The fire crackled. Time. Mira's breath caught. Time, she echoed. Yes, I took it, locked it away beneath the lake. Time cannot touch Eloria while the spell holds. No one grows, no one fades. But they do not live, not really. They exist, like paintings behind glass. But can it be undone? I'll do it. Mother Marrow stood and handed her a key made of stone. This will unlock the gate, but beware. The deeper you go, the more you will remember what the kingdom has forgotten. Mira descended into the lake. The key opened a path beneath the tower, spiraling steps that led into the dark. The air grew thick. The light vanished. And then the memories came. She saw Eloria as it once was, a land of seasons and sorrow and joy. People danced and aged and died and were born again. Her grandmother singing as she rocked Mira's infant form. Her father with lines on his face from laughter and worry. Her mother smiling through tears as Mira took her first steps. As she descended, the memories sharpened. The day the spell was cast. A storm. The queen, pale and weak, clutching her belly. The king weeping. Mother Marrow opening a book bound in skin. And then, the cage. At the bottom of the stairs lay a room carved from crystal. In its center was a cage made of time itself. And within it, a child. A boy, perhaps 8 years old, with eyes like Corin's. Mira, he said, you know me? I'm what's left of Corin, the real Corin. The kingdom's time was taken from me. I hold it all, every moment, every breath that should have passed. I am every winter that never came. She knelt before the cage. I'm here to set you free. He nodded once. But you must know, when you do, everything will change. Eloria will remember pain, loss, age. I know, she said, but we'll remember love too. She touched the key to the cage. The world broke open. Time rushed back into the kingdom like a tide unchained. Children laughed and then cried, scraped their knees, grew tall. Mothers held their babies one last time before they became girls and boys, and then something more. Old men blinked and remembered things they hadn't felt in centuries. Trees turned gold, rivers slowed, birds returned to Lake Seraluni. Mira awoke on the shore, her hair wet, her heart heavy and full. She was older now, not by years but by understanding. She looked to the sky and saw 1,000 stories waiting to be lived. Corin stood beside her. Not a boy, not a ghost, but a young man with clear eyes and a quiet smile. Thank you, he said. They walked back to the village. Some wept, some rejoiced, some were afraid, but all felt alive. And in the years that followed, Eloria became a kingdom not of stillness, but of stories. Epilogue. Mira grew. She traveled. She painted her name in stars and soil. She fell in love, failed, flourished, and aged. One day, she returned to Lake Seraluni, now brimming with swans and summer lilies. The glass tower was gone, replaced by a willow tree whose branches reached the water. There,